Now, I think that we can all agree here that 2023 has been the most disastrous year for Disney, and it's not just Bob Iger's fault. We also have to look at many of the board members and many of the top shareholders. Just to name a few, we have BlackRock and Vanguard. If you really want to get down to the root of all these issues with ESG and everything with DEI, this is all a matter of BlackRock and Vanguard funding Disney and really being the puppeteers behind everything. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into the subject, shall we? Now, the problem with Disney right now is that they have been running into endless box office failures, one after the other. And if they weren't box office failures, they were movies that met with very low fan feedback, right? Very negative feedback, so to say. Now, when you look at stuff like this, we know that there's a lot of problems arising out of Disney, and Bob Iger, of all people, was able to confirm a lot of things happening with the current financial crisis over at Disney and exactly how he either inadvertently admitted or purposely admitted that Disney is indeed heading into a lot of trouble for 2024 in the financial realm. Let's get into the specifics. Now, we know that Iger is trying to stabilize Disney by really embracing his cost containment plan. For those of you that have not been informed, this is basically all a matter of spending less and making less. That's the real basic way to explain what the plan really is. However, with Disney heading into many issues with their films and television, one major development has to do with Bob Iger and the Disney financial crisis that is officially beginning to unfold now. Now, recently Iger delivered the following concerning the future of film and television. We here at Disney feel it's our #1 priority to both satisfy our customers and our employees. However, in doing so, we must anticipate some losses and cutbacks to keep everything going for the best. This will include significant cutbacks on high-budget shows and films, along with focusing on more small-scale projects instead of the next 2 to 3 years to ensure our cost containment plan becomes more strict throughout 2024 and 25. This will involve smaller cast and crew groups for each of our projects in film and television in order to spend less and make less. We will also be focusing on different routes for special effects such as practical effects rather than projects that are in need of CGI equipment and techniques, as those can be very costly for big budget films and television shows that we will be scaling back from. Now guys, let me just stop here before I get to the next big thing that Bob Iger has to talk about. This is really diving into what we have been talking about for weeks about what was looming for 2024, and now Bob Iger, like I said before earlier in this video, is either inadvertently admitting or purposely admitting that Disney is really bracing themselves for an even worse year throughout all of 2024 and beyond. Now, here's the problem, is that they're dialing back on employees. This is going to go across all different business models, whether it be the streaming model, whether it be film and television, whether it be the corporate ladder, or ESPN and Hulu. It doesn't matter. It's going to radiate throughout all of Disney and even ABC, and we have a lot more to talk about the whole Comcast situation. There's a lot of problems arising out of that. That's why the stocks are even doing worse, and we don't really see a rebound coming out throughout the next, couple of months. We really don't see anything happening like that at all. And I think that this is why Bob Iger is finally trying to become a little bit more vivid, a little bit more upfront, to really kind of connect with shareholders out there that really are very angry, mind you. I know a lot of people that have invested with Disney that are not happy with the way things are going right now, especially with their stocks, with what they are doing with film and television, with what they are doing with the Disney parks, with the purging of Disney Plus content, while also raising, rates next year. Now, about that, this is where things get very tricky, because we know that Disney Plus, rates are dropping somewhat, but this is a temporary solution. This is nothing more than a band-aid, and Bob Iger has to talk about that in just a second. So let's get into that right now. So he goes on to elaborate further. It is our focus to also scale back on the number of employees we will have employed here at Disney, and this is something that we will be taking action on further throughout 2024. For a short time before we embrace our rate hikes for Disney Plus, we are taking the liberty of cutbacks on rates for a temporary time to attract new customers to the brand, to experiment with patterns of new customers versus returning customers, to give us an easier path for our analysis, for our analyzers, or to our growth for the remainder of this year leading us into 2024. We will have more to discuss on the matter by the end of this year, even more important concerns to address for the first quarter of next year to inform our customers and shareholders around the globe. Now again, here's the bigger problem at large, is that Bob Iger, basically what he's admitting is that these cutbacks that you are noticing right now at Disney Plus rates are a result of a temporary solution, a band-aid, to create a pattern a couple of months from now to see whether or not these cutbacks attract new customers or attract returning customers that may have subbed and then unsubbed, and whether or not that's going to bring people back. Now, they want to see exactly which one outweighs the other to kind of get a better idea of what they want to do for next year. Now, again, this is nothing but a band-aid. They're still going to raise rates next year for Disney Plus. This also goes for the parks. Whether it's in Orlando or whether it's in, Hollywood, it doesn't matter. Or, in California, doesn't matter. Both of those parks' rates are going to go up. And I think a lot of it has to do with not just with what's been going on with the stocks, but it also has a lot to do with the lower attendees, and a way to compensate that loss is to raise rates a little bit. And that's only going to drive people away further. So it's a very bad business move, and this is typical Bob Iger, just as bad as Bob Chapek, if not worse, especially when it comes to the parks. This is exactly why, by the way, Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel is closing later this month. I believe it closes on the last day of this month, like the 30th or maybe the 29th, right around that time frame. So that's when that's happening, and they're going to bulldoze that structure sometime by 2024, and the conversations of rebuilding that area of the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel within Disney is something that fell flat. Those conversations are no more. They can't afford to create another Star Wars hotel. But more on that later in the week. There's a lot of problems arising out of that. However, this just goes to show you how desperate they are when it comes to creating band-aid situations, right? Lowering rates temporarily just to see a pattern, just to create something for their, analysis on things, and returning versus new customers. So anyway, guys, drop a comment below, fill me below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we hear them moans again.